what's going on, you fucking snot rockets? It's Nick Dan. I didn't even know what I was going to call you. I just blew a snot rocket. It's all over my hand, so that's all I came up with. What's going on? Nick Daniels here, Nick fucking D. And we're just going to pace along upon like a retard. And we're going to be talking about Star Wars today. So then, without further ado, let me just explain what the video is going to be, what's going to entail, and then we'll just get right into this shit. So this is a bit of the long rant series. I don't really know what else to call it, but we're going to call it a long rant. I think that's all we can come up with. Typically, these videos are about half an hour in length, possibly more. Just depends how passionate I get about them. Could be a little less too. And the whole idea is they're going to be long rants specifically about one thing. It's not just going to be me rambling along for half an hour, because I could do that. Believe me, it can happen. So today's topic is going to be Star Wars, and specifically the new trilogy, the solo movie, Rogue One, etc. Okay, but the new trilogy, starring like Rey, Finn, and Poe, as our technically our main three. Okay. Spoilers, obviously, we're going to talk the fucking shit out of it. Now, it's been a while since I've seen really any of these movies, and the last two, The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, I only saw once. The Force Awakens I saw twice, I think. Maybe. You know, so Rogue One, I think a little bit more than once, actually, because I actually liked Rogue One. But, it had its own flaws. So like I said, without any further ado, let's get right into it, son. There's a whole family out here. Like the woman's just like staring at me. That happens all the time. It's the camera. So yeah, let me preface by saying this, man. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I didn't mind the prequels. They weren't great either, by the way. They kind of sucked. Revenge of the Sith was quite nice, actually. I liked seeing Anakin's turn, and I wish we would have got to see a lot more of that. But if you watch like the Clone Wars, you do get to see that, and he gradually over the series gets worse and worse, where he'll start doing a lot of bullshit. And I think Ahsoka leaving is really, in my opinion, one of the things that really pushed him. But now they've come out with that last season, and she did return shortly. But that was right around the same time he encountered Palpatine, I think. Right? It literally goes into Order 66. So yeah. So like that being said, which very very interesting. I haven't watched Rebels. It's whatever. A little too childish for me on that one. But I love the Clone Wars. So we're very good. The new trilogy. Man, let me tell you, all right, again, big Star Wars fan. So I saw the trailer for The Force Awakens, and I'm going to tell you right now, man, Disney knows how to hype up a trailer. Like, literally, it's like EA, man, when they were doing Star Wars Battlefront. Yeah, like, the games kind of didn't go as well as expected, but everybody saw the trailers and got hyped as shit, because they looked epic, right? And they do the same here. The Force Awakens, in my opinion, had a great trailer. It was fantastic, and it left so much open to interpretation. You didn't understand, you were stoked, right? So I'm sure The Force Awakens probably did the best of all three movies, because it was just that. It was just so long without a movie that they were like, yeah, man, let's get right into it. So I want to say right away, I'm going to forget some details. I'm going to skim over some things, but I'm just going to rant about what I remember and what pops in my mind, and it's probably going to come up in any order. So be prepared for that. The Force Awakens I didn't hate, okay? I get where people were coming from. There was a lot of criticism right away that it copied A New Hope, and I understand that. I really do. Now, one of the things you can't diss of any of these three movies, and again, I'll talk about, like I say the three movies, I'm going to really reference the trilogy, and I'll just bring up occasionally Rogue One. I'm going to occasionally bring up Solo. There's nothing to talk about in Solo. It's just the odd thing I'm going to bring up. The movie sucked. And I would never rewatch it. Like, I'd literally chop off my own penis before I watch that thing again. The thing that really got me about The Force Awakens was like, and all three, is you can't knock them, is like the actual like effects and all that are spot on. Like Rogue One, they do several scenes where, Rogue One and The Force Awakens for both, both of them have ground to air combat. Okay, where the X-Wings and whatever are, whether they're fighting, it's like a battlefield match, there's a dogfight going on at the same time that there's people on the ground fighting, and they both interact at the same time. They were fantastic. They're well done. I can never shit on that. Rogue One's space battle was amazing. I will rewatch that shit all the time because it just looks so good. And a lot of it makes sense. It's believable in a Star Wars universe that they would be doing these things, that the strategies would be used. One of them, they ram a Star Destroyer into the other one. I thought that was really funny, but it makes sense because it was just a little ship. It didn't have a lot going on, right? Like, it couldn't take out the Star Destroyer, but it's like, okay, let's do what we can. Really good. So I will say that right away. The Force Awakens, another thing, I'm going to say a few things I liked about it, and then, a little bit of criticism. The next two fucking suck, okay? So the thing I liked about The Force Awakens, again, was the dynamic of all three characters. So Poe, Finn, and Rey really, in my opinion, really work well together. They all have their own abilities, and it'd be no different than you played an RPG, and you had specific characters in your party that did certain things. If you played Knights of the Republic, you had certain characters. Who was the Twi'lek in that game? I can't think of her name right away. Mission Vale. Right? Mission, she does demolition and security, so she can unlock shit. She can deactivate mines. So you'd bring her in your party for that. You might bring along a medic character. You might bring along another, Bastila, for, maybe force healing. You have reasons to bring them. So Rey wasn't all that in the first movie. She was, she kind of did her thing. Finn did his, and I liked Finn, and and it was in the trailer that I'm pretty sure he had the lightsaber, and he was fighting against Kylo in the snow, which looked awesome, by the way, in the trailer. So, and I like that. And then Poe being the pilot. Poe was awesome. Poe was just an extraordinary pilot that right off the bat, when you see him going, the guy's flying circles around TIE fighters. And there's one scene where they do it where he takes out, he must kill 12 people. 12 stormtroopers, or 12 of the enemy. And he's flying all up around, he's taking them all out. He's coming in, he swoops down into the ground and kills 5 of them. Really well done. Fantastic. That again was one of the fantastic scenes, and it just showed that, that ability to do that. And it was great. They would have kept that shit up, man. I would have been stoked. Again, I liked, so I liked Kylo Ren and Rey fighting. And I'll explain why. And I know some people might not agree with this, but I like that they weren't all super impressive fighting. There was a lot of shakiness in their combat. And it's because they've probably really never actually fought a Force user before. Anyone with a lightsaber before. Now, Finn gets taken out with the lightsaber, but he actually puts up a little bit of an attempt. And it's probably because, well, technically, let's look at it this way. He is technically a stormtrooper. They might not have a lot of first-hand training like that. And you're going against a Force user. So he put up a good fight, and it was very realistic to me that Finn probably wasn't going to beat him. But I liked that Rey did, and she kind of unlocked the Force ability. I didn't really like. I think she should have lost that one and came back. It's the classic good guy losing thing, and the redemption arc of that. She didn't have that, but that's fine. I was okay with it. But again, their fight was very scrappy in my opinion, and you know what? And I like that though. I actually very much agree with it. Again, they weren't. I know, Kylo technically was, I assume, was getting trained by Snoke. But even that, Snoke was just, we'll get into that. But he's basically just tank bred, he was just born in a tube. Can't really get behind the guy. I liked Commander, what was this, Hux? I believe his name was. He's basically it was kind of like in Vader's same situation. There's an officer that's just high up enough that gets that respect. But the thing about it was that Hux wasn't really giving it to him. Kylo was demanding respect, and Hux wasn't giving it to him. He was like, no, man. We've been here. We've been doing our thing, and you just kind of roll up and you just try to take command of everybody. And he's like, you're just spoiled and a brat, And I like that. I like that dynamic, that Kylo wasn't necessarily fully in charge, and he had his little temper tantrums. The humor was really annoying. I actually didn't like that at all. I don't really like jokes in that. Marvel's kind of been getting away with it for a while, but a lot of them are just really pissing me off because they're just specifically put in there to just make stupid jokes. Not funny. It's funny how bad the movies are. That's funny. So anyway, so that kind of being said, I think we kind of talked about mainly the positives. There'll probably be the odd little positive that comes into play. Talk about a few of the negatives. So Han Solo dying, I guess was okay, but I didn't get into that at all. It just killed off his character for no reason, in my opinion. It would have been better to see him interact with Luke and Leia a little bit, the original 3, and have them sign off, Leia we'll get into as well, and Luke as well, for their cast-offs, but that alone, I was kind of whatever. Like I said, the plot, I wasn't necessarily crazy about that Luke went into hiding. It doesn't make any sense to me because a resistance has formed. And by the way, how did the Rebel Alliance just disappear? How did the First Order convert a planet into a weapon? Which is very generic in my opinion. They've already done this multiple times, but now they were like, hey, fuck it, we'll just make a planet. Is that even possible? We don't know. Well, apparently. And, you know, they take out like 5 planets that are supposed to be like resistance planets or something. They just beam them out of existence. You know, whatever. That's okay. But, yeah, like, did nobody get on top of this? Like, the First Order just has like a whole army, like dreadnoughts, you name it. Nobody like noticed this. You know what I mean? Nobody caught on. Just a little bit BS. Okay. But again, whatever. Okay. You know, the payoff at the end, like I said, I did say that a minute ago. I didn't necessarily like that Rey beat Kylo Ren. I wasn't really a fan of that, you know, whatever. And at the end of the movie, they find Luke. She just like holds a lightsaber and the movie ends, and you have no idea what happens. Okay, a little weird. Luke's just literally living out on an island, whatever. I can't critique The Force Awakens a whole lot. Okay, I can say I did enjoy it though. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. But I like some setup. You know, they had Snoke being mysterious. They had, you know, Chewbacca showing the most emotion of anybody. We can't fucking understand the guy, you know. So I was like, whatever. There's, I don't know if the droid comes into play. Poe's droid. I forget what his name is. The ball thing. Whatever. I didn't really care for it. Okay. Whatever. I'm not hating. Like, the Knights of Ren are supposed to be a thing. They've now kind of introduced them. Trying to see what this guy's doing. There's a guy up in this, like... pickleball court over here, you know. He's like right over there. I don't know what he's doing. He's just like walking around inside of a pickleball court with a dog. Like, it's like fenced off. He like went into the fenced in area, into a court, and he's just like walking around with a dog in there. Like, I don't understand. It's just him. There's nobody there, and it's like it was like raining out. Like, the thing's soaked. You ain't playing. I also apologize if it's getting a little dark. I think it looks okay, but when I record, I can't change the manual settings when I record. So it's getting darker. Like, it's getting to 5 o'clock. It's like literally like almost pitch black at 5. So we have to sum this video up in like 20 minutes, or else you're not going to see me. So apologies if I skip ahead or talk really, really fucking fast, but that's pretty normal. All right, there's a woman at the pond here with a dude. We're just gonna scratch my ass here. We're just gonna wait for them and see which way they go, and then we'll go the opposite way, as that's a smart fucking play, dude. So yeah, so we talked about The Force Awakens. Like I said, the Solo movie, there really isn't much to talk about. I didn't like it at all. What I think is they didn't have enough of a movie to really make anything. So they just kind of came up with something, and that's what they did. They just kind of, I think they just kind of slapped something together just to make a bullshit movie. It had Emilia Clarke in it. She's a great actress, and I think her role was squandered her. There's a couple other actors in there that are, that are a little bit more well known. And again, it's just a complete waste of a role in the movie. There's really not a lot to talk about. Like, the plot was boring. The pacing was boring. The action was boring. I can't get into a movie like that, and it's really unfortunate because I want to. I don't go into these movies not wanting to get into them. Now, I will tell you though, the Rise of SkyWalker and the Last Jedi, yeah. So the Last Jedi, I kind of went into having a little bit of hopes with it because The Force Awakens I didn't think was too bad. Okay, like I even literally went in and like bought the DVD because I was a nerd, and yeah, was that a bad ever decision? So the Last Jedi, oh god, where do I even start, man? So the Last Jedi kind of picks up. Last time I checked, like right after the last movie. Okay, so Rey has now kind of become the ultimate character. She doesn't really need Poe or Finn anymore. They're just completely redundant. They're like Windows 7 compared to like Windows 10. You don't really use Windows 7. Like if you can upgrade, you're going to upgrade. And they don't really show any training with her or anything, so it's just kind of unexplained as how that's actually come to pass. You just have to accept it, okay? So most of the movie, I can sum up in about one line, is basically the movie is about a slow-ass chase in space because the enemies can't catch up to our hero ship. Like, it's just I was so bored in the theater watching that. Like, I was literally like, they can't come up with anything else. And all they had was like drama on the ship. Like, there's the purple hair chick. I can't remember her name, by the way. And, she's just causing a ruckus, Like, there was so many questions of like why they couldn't catch up. They were like, okay, like our beams are arcing in space and they're just hitting the back of the ship and we can't penetrate the shields for whatever reason in the back of the ship. Okay, so they're like, all right, well, we can't catch up either, so we're just going to wait until they just run out of fuel. That's a great idea. It's actually not that bad. I was thinking, like, a better idea would be maybe we release the TIE fighters. They're like, oh, we can't support them from here. Yeah, I think they're going to be okay. It's one ship. It's one ship. Does anybody want to just hit the old warp speed button just for about half a second? Just fucking scoot right up. I don't think that's a bad idea. But there's just a few options that I just don't think anybody came up with. You know, the opening fight scene was hideous. You know, I actually had a little bit of hope for the show, the movie, but I was going to say the show. I had a little bit of hope. There's also a lady sitting here now at the trail. She's just sitting like right beside the trail, like literally like 10 feet away from it. And there's a couple walking behind me around the trail. So we might have to walk past this lady, which is going to be greasy. But we're going to hang out here for just a minute. And if that couple keep coming towards me, we'll have to endeavor past this old. I shouldn't even stop recording. I should just go. But yeah, so the opening scene, it was hideous. Poe literally flies up to a dreadnought and makes a joke that had no taste, and yeah, it was really annoying. And then they're like, "Oh, fire!" And he's just like taking out every turret that can't hit him. I think like a TIE fighter shoots the back and like disables his weapons for a second. Like literally should have just killed him. Like I hate being that guy, but it's like, dude, fucking kill him. Like any other time, they would just instantly been dead, but it was a main character, so it's like, oh, we can't touch him. Oh, great, they went off an offbeat path, and we can turn around now. Thanks. So yeah, so really annoying. I instantly didn't like where the movie started. I had hopes for it right away, because I was like, okay, cool, we're getting into some action. As soon as they started making jokes, it's like bullshit. So they send in the fleet, and for some reason, and you've probably heard this before, the Y-Wings have disappeared, and it really pissed me off right away, because it was like, dude, like the Y-Wings were fast, they were bombers, they were efficient, they were used in every movie, gone. So they've got these like old-ass bombers. They didn't make any sense, by the way, and I have a few guesses of why they worked, but they're never really explicitly actually shown. So there's like two chicks in one of them, and they're these weird slow bombers, and they have like a long pull to them, kind of, in a sense. Again, I'll try to, like the Game of Thrones one I did here, I'll try to see if I can remember doing this, and hopefully I remember to do this. But I want to put up some pictures on the screen so you kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. So if there has been pictures up to this point, that's why. If there isn't, well then I just got too lazy. And that happens. Lady disappeared. Thought she was going to come up behind me and kill me or something. So anyway, so yeah, like the long shaft to these bombers is where they drop bombs, and literally like 50 of these little bombs drop out, and then like somehow go right towards the ship below the dreadnought and like blow it up. The only thing I can think of was like gravity, right? Or like, you know, there may be like magnets or something. And it's not specifically said. It also would have been some type of airlock or something. That didn't exist either. You know, I was wondering like maybe it was one of those one-way shields or something. That would have made sense. But I don't remember, actually, to tell you the truth. I've only ever seen this movie once, and I don't think I'd ever watch it again. I probably should, to kind of just have another laugh, because I laughed a lot in this movie, but that made me wonder. Okay, so anyway, needless to say, they were slow, they were clanky, and they blew up like instantly, and as soon as one blew up, like 3 of them were gone. So they lost like half their fleet in a second. By the way, their fleet was like 10 ships. Okay, that's literally all they had left. Okay, again, I don't understand how the Resistance was this small from the first movie. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, so they proceed to go on from that, and then that's where I said this chase begins. So the chase is literally just, that's the movie. It's utterly pathetic, it's terrible, it's boring, and the whole plot at that point is that chase, which we don't even really need to talk about, and then they go to land on the planet. That was their other plan. They're like, all right, we'll land on a planet, and instead of just bombarding us from space, they're going to fly down and try to kill us. Now, in the meantime, Rey has been talking with Mr. Luke Skywalker, and they have one little battle. Now, I was kind of upset about this, but there was actually no lightsaber duel in this movie between two people. The most is like Luke fights with like a stick, you know. And I think they show a little bit of Rey training. They show those porg things that are really annoying. And Luke's a hermit and eventually ended up turning on Kylo Ren. We found out he taught him. Turned on Kylo Ren because he had the dark side in him or something, and he said, fuck him. It doesn't make any humanly sense to me. I don't think Luke Skywalker would do that, and Mark Hamill openly admitted that in an interview, which again I may or may not remember to put in. But yeah, he openly admitted that like Luke wouldn't do this. Like it just doesn't make any sense to him. Like Luke was very optimistic, and he's not very optimistic here. So anyway, Rey kind of does her thing with Luke. There's really not much to say there. And for some reason, she translates what Chewie says to Luke. Like I'm just wondering about that too, because it's like, okay, we're getting swarmed here from all directions. There's a guy coming up behind me now. We're gonna turn around again. Okay, I'll just explain what we're doing here real quick. So I was just like, I'm just walking circles around a pond. That's all we're doing. But I just walked one way. There was a person like right in front of me, so I turned around. I went up that way. There was another person coming. It gets really awkward, man. Okay, yeah, he's going. Now it gets really awkward. Yeah, there's still someone. I don't know why, man. There's someone in the court still walking around with his dog. I don't understand. That was him. Okay. But I think this way's a little bit brighter, so at least you can still see me. Anyway, like I said, we'll try to wrap it up for 30 minutes here. So anyway, needless to say, though, not much a lot happens after that. Yeah, Luke's just a waste of time. But Rey does meet Snoke, so she gets introduced to Snoke, and it kind of reminded me of like the final movie. Like the friends are out there fighting outside the Death Star. You know, Palpatine was like, ha ha ha. And then Rey was like, all right, like I will defeat you, and someone like assisted. So Kylo actually takes out Snoke. By the way, Snoke was extremely powerful with the Force. Like Rey couldn't even do a fucking thing. All he did was lift his finger and she was gone. You know, they made even a joke of like he threw his her lightsaber and like hit her in the head. It was like supposed to be funny or something. It was stupid. But he's clearly very powerful. So anyway, they go to fight, and or she wants to try to fight him, and it's not going to happen. And Kylo like snaps his fingers basically, and the lightsaber ignites that was beside him. So he turns it towards him, and ignites it with the Force, and kills him, cuts him in half. Snoke's dead. So they go to fight the Honor Guards, and if you really watch this in depth, there's two mistakes that openly happen, and they left right in. The first one is that one of them was swinging, and he's going to hit her like right in the head. So he deliberately like misses and goes way above her because the choreographing was off. The second one was that there was a guy with like two daggers that had Rey locked up, like he had her arm locked up, and the other dagger he could have just gutted her with, like really right in the stomach. Disappeared it. They took it right out of his hand. So really annoying that I saw that you catch those two, but again, in some in-depth reviews, you'll see those. So back onto the ship, we're going to jump up back a little bit in the movie. So Kylo Ren was unleashed in the fighter for a quick minute, and he was actually going to blow up the bridge of the ship, and he didn't, and another pilot did. So he was still hesitating, and Carrie Fisher, so Leia, gets blown out into space, along with like General Akbar, by the way, who just instantly just gets dead. Like, they don't even, like, acknowledge that to any degree, which is kind of funny to me. I know he wasn't, like, any real character or anything, but, like, he was there. Like, he was in the original movies, and they were like, yeah, he's gone. And then Leia did, like, the most ridiculous thing. I remember howling in laughter. But she's, like, out in space, and then she just, like, sticks her hands out and, like, magically flies towards the ship. There's not even, like, the airlock. She just comes right in, like, no decompression or anything. And it's like she would have instantly been dead out in space, but she was okay. And then basically the rest of the movie, she does nothing. We're going to quickly pause the video. It'll be for like 1 second for you guys. I need just to redo it and do the brightness up for the last part here. Okay, sorry about that. Now we actually have some brightness and you can see me. And it's getting too dark here, man, but it is starting to get a little dark. So anyway, like I was saying, it was like literally 30 seconds ago. I can't even remember what the fuck I just said. But Snoke's dead. Really upsetting that happened. And then we cut to the battle on the planet. Turn around. I literally just was like walking up there, like talking. Like I was like right beside the road. I just look up and someone's like staring at me at the road with their dog. It's like, oh my fuck. Turn around. Like you can't just walk by. Like literally she was just glaring at me the entire time. As soon as I like actually made eye contact, I was like, great, I'll turn around. Yeah, just really annoying when people do that, man. You just can't mind your own business. Super frustrating. Like, I'm just out here trying to make a video by myself. Just let me do that. So anyway, never gets old. As I was saying, so the battle on the ground is pretty funny. It's on this like salt planet, and they have like 8 ships. These like random things that just skid across the salt, and there's a couple soldiers. There's not even that many. And the First Order lands in with like big AT-ATs. Now they're not called AT-ATs anymore. They've got a new name, and they're super like armored up and stuff. Like they don't look very thin. And I'm pretty sure they have like 1 or 2 AT-ATs that must have been salvaged. So like they look, you can tell the difference between the two. And the old AT-ATs look like bare bones. Like these look like gorillas. Okay, she's walking on the trail the opposite way, the woman who just stared at me, so we'll go the other way. That's why if you ever see me like turning around frequently when I'm making this video, that's why I'm doing it. So anyway, they go in. I don't know why they can't just blast through the gate door. Apparently it's too thick. They're in this like little hut. No, they're like in a little base and they can't get through. So they got this big laser cannon. I was like, fucking hell, man, what is this shit? And their whole thing is to take these like skimmers, I think they're called, and fly in there. Now the Millennium Falcon comes in at one point. I don't even know who's flying that thing. I can't remember. And I honestly can't. Maybe Chewie, Rey, I don't know, both. And, a couple fighters go after him, whatever. It's okay. And the battle on the ground is not really that entertaining. I don't know how they didn't just take out these skimmer things right away. They looked like they had no ability to do anything. And it basically, Finn at one point is going to fly into this laser beam thing and like destroy it. He's going to sacrifice himself. And I was actually pretty okay with that. But during this movie, he's met a woman named Rose. There's been a whole bunch of scenes with jokes and shit. And he's met this woman named Rose. And Rose has infamously gone down as being a really annoying side character. And she pissed me off. So anyway, she actually crashes her ship into his, which nobody shoots her down, by the way. But maybe they wanted that, I don't know. And so she flies right into him. Probably could have killed each other. That's okay. And she like makes some comment about, we do things for the people we love. Really annoyed me because Finn had his moment. Maybe that was it. That's what his character arc led to, the big heroic sacrifice. I also forget to mention, by the way, but he's okay after The Force Awakens. He got literally sliced up his back from Kylo Ren in a lightsaber, and he's okay. He's all right. And also stabbed like at least once with like the hilt laser thing. He's fine. Don't worry about him. Okay, I'm just pacing myself because there's the staring woman up here. I'm just making sure I'm not too close to her. So a lot of suspicious activity going on, but don't let that take away from the fact that this movie sucks. So kind of moving forward from that, Luke magically appears, so he force projects himself, I guess, to that planet, whatever. How he even knew that they were there, I don't even know. He just does that, and I thought it was going to be this epic, we don't even know that, by the way, at first. I thought it was going to be this epic scene where Kylo Ren was going to fight him, and it looked like it was going to be. And then he just vanishes because he's not actually there, and Kylo gets really mad because all he did was stall them. He also force projects himself to see Leia real quick, and they have a quick little chat. And also, if you didn't know, by the way, Kylo was was Leia and Han's kid, which even is more frightening that Luke was going to kill him. Doesn't make much sense to me there. So like that being said, Luke just vanishes after that. He literally just becomes a Force ghost. It was noted in the beginning of the movies there that Qui-Gon was one of the only people who actually figured out how to be one. It wasn't just openly everybody knew how to become a Force ghost. It's not like you're just good and you're a Force ghost. You actually had to kind of learn that shit. So again, really fucking confusing. So that kind of being said, we're kind of near the end of the movie. Rey comes in, she uses her hands and she moves a bunch of rocks with the Force, and she's a god now. Okay, so the third movie is the Rise of SkyWalker, I believe it is ultimately the worst, and we will have to continue on for a few extra minutes here because I have some things to say. Okay, that's why we upped the brightness, because I knew I would probably be here for a few extra minutes to talk about that movie. So that one I absolutely hated and probably will never see again. Utterly pathetic. Okay, so what I really hated, I will say this with the second one too. The ending was kind of funny. There's a kid with a broom, and he uses the Force and pulls it to himself, and that's all he did, and it just ends there. And they had to go get some code breaker. I don't know if you know what that was. The whole plot line, by the way, was stupid. It looked like it was from Hogwarts, like Harry Potter. There was all these random mystical creatures running around for golden coins and stuff. Really dumb. That's why I didn't talk about it, because it's fucking dumb. I got really bored watching that part. Anyway, so moving into the third movie, like I said, I can barely remember what's going on. So they brought back the Y-wing in this movie. That was impressive, and the whole idea. And I got really displeased when I watched the trailer, because you heard Palpatine laughing. Right now, if you remember correctly, by the way, Palpatine technically died in the first trilogy. There, the third movie, he's gone, dude. Literally, Darth Vader throws his ass. Okay, in the Death Star, throws him down. I don't know what that was, the reactor or something. He basically takes his ass right out, and the Death Star blows up after. Okay, just saying. So they completely voided Anakin's sacrifice. Okay, because that's what Anakin sacrificed himself to do, was to save his son and take out the Emperor. Once and for all. And that's gone. So Palpatine's back. They don't explain why, how, whatever. But apparently he's built this massive army, and we're going to jump through this movie a bit because I kind of want to go home. Been out here for this is going to be an hour. I think it's already been an hour. So yeah, like he's just taken right out, and it doesn't make any logical sense to me why he's back, and they don't explain it, by the way. If you're kind of asking, yeah, they never get to that point. They never say why. It's just like literally there's a scene with Poe. There's a clip on YouTube. It's kind of funny, and it's literally just Poe saying, like, somehow Palpatine returned, and it was like dun, 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 like that. Funny. I'll try to see if I can remember putting it in. Hold on, there's just people right here, dude. Okay, we gotta bail. Okay, so there's a couple behind me. There's a lady right to my right. There's a woman on the trail, and there's another guy right there with a dog. And it's like, I don't even know, 450? Like, I had to up the brightness here, man. It's not super bright out right now. Like, the street lights are all on and everything. It's just super annoying, man, trying to make these videos and just like constantly everywhere I go, there's just people like right on my ass, like right behind me. It's like fucking hell. All right, so we're bailing. We're gonna start walking back anyway. So yeah, man. So that kind of being said, so we're gonna go quiet just for a second here. There's somebody like right beside me. Yeah, we're just gonna put the camera down for a second. We'll keep talking. We got the webcam here, or the microphone. But yeah, man. So the third movie, I don't even remember how it starts. That's the shitty thing. Like, or the funny thing, I literally don't even remember how this movie begins. But I do remember is that the Knights of Ren are just they're just squandered in this movie. They actually show them. The last one, they didn't even bring them in. Like, they weren't even like mentioned. But this one, they're brought in. Okay, and they redeemed Luke a little bit as a Force ghost. Like, because he makes a reference to The Last Jedi, where the beginning of The Last Jedi, I didn't mention this, he takes his lightsaber and he just throws it out into the water like a fool. And he actually was like, oh, like, you know, people should have more respect for a Jedi's weapon or something, right? Which is just supposed to be a dig at the different director, like J.J. Abrams or whoever. But yeah, so like I got really confused by this movie because of just the actual plot. But basically, to try to sum it up a bit quicker than The Last Jedi, because I took my sweet time on that one. What really got me on this movie, what really got me was the ending, really. Like, near the ending. It was like Palpatine's fleet was supposed to be like, I don't even know what it was, like 1,000 Star Destroyers. Again, man, like, where do you get the crew? Where do you get the resources? Like, whatever, on this planet called like Icicle or something. And they're all underground, which makes no sense. Like, they're all under ice, and they all like fly up, like break through the ice. Like, why were they down there? I don't know. And the only way apparently to get to this planet is to find this wayfinder, which there's like 2 in the whole world. And half the movies, I'm looking for one, and Kylo just finding it on a planet first try, you know. So when they go to find theirs, like Rey and all them, that's like where this big infamous scene from the trailer came in, where I guess you could call them stormtroopers, but the First Order soldiers have like a jetpack, and they're like, they fly now? They fly now? It's so annoying, dude. You know, I don't even know if I want to put the clip in. It's just so frustrating to hear, because like literally they can fly, right? They've got jetpacks. That's a technology that has existed already. So it was just amazing that just was a thing. That whole scene was terrible. We're not even going to go into that. I ain't got the time or energy anymore for this. I think I'm just pissing myself off too much thinking about it, ranting about it. So yeah, the whole they fly now was funny, whatever. And but anyway, they go on the planet. They find like Lando, which is like, whatever. And you know, their whole thing is they gotta move forward, right? I'm getting stared at again here. Yeah, she's just glaring at me. Fucking Christ. But they love doing that. But yeah, so the whole plot is just that. It's just, okay, let's find this wayfinder. So Rey finds the wayfinder in the Star Destroyer ruins, and the only way she finds it is they like literally get this. They have to find like a dagger by like a dead Sith agent of some kind that Luke Skywalker couldn't find on a planet that looks like Tatooine. Okay. They find it because after they fly now scene, their like speeder, if you would call it that, gets destroyed, and instead of them like blowing up, they all just go flying off of it into quicksand, and when they go into the quicksand, they find it. The dagger opens up, like the hilt does, and it shows them, like, it lines up with the Star Destroyer's ruins, so exactly where the the Death Star, and shows exactly where the remains of the Death Star are. Exactly, you have to be in the right spot at the right time, and it lines up to point exactly where in the Death Star it is. Which, by the way, the Death Star is like out in like an ocean, the ruins of it, and apparently that would never move because big waves and shit. That's fine. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Okay. We also find out that Palpatine's big thing is like he's going to work with Kylo Ren, so Kylo Ren's going to help him out there. And Palpatine's like hooked up to these big tubes, so clearly he's not back at like full power. And I think basically he wants to try to kill Rey and absorb like her life force, and he'll be okay. Where he is on this ice skull planet too, he's also got like thousands of like Sith worshippers, which is really funny. And we learn nothing more than that. Like, it's just crazy. There's also a clip of where the camera's coming in and you see a bunch of like laboratory tanks, tubes and stuff, and it's like Snoke is inside of them. Like, it looks like Snoke's. So he's literally like creating like ultra powerful like force users, which potentially maybe he's using his own force power to help them. To give them the force. I don't know, but very interesting. This movie, you also see Rey training. And sort of gone quiet. I'm kind of behind somebody here. Like, she's on the other side of the street, but she's like right there. So I'm just kind of not trying to bring too much attention to myself now. And again, sort of it's getting dark again, but we'll try to wrap it up here very quickly, but very soon. But yeah, so anyway, so that's whatever. But Rey trains. We finally see a little bit of training, like actually doing something rather than just like swinging randomly at a stationary rock, which is all we saw up to that point. So I'm kind of thankful. And I'm happy that they've at least taken that into a consideration and said, you know what, we should probably show her doing something. The plot itself of this movie, Hideous, I don't know if I hate it more than The Last Jedi, but like I said, that ending battle scene, we'll get into it here in a moment, was absolutely terrible. So what happens is they put out this like big distress call, and they're like, okay, well, like they did that in The Last Jedi. They were like, okay, we'll see if anybody comes to our aid. Nobody does. And they're like, okay, we'll see if they do it this time, and they do. And they literally have, like, I'm not even fucking shitting you, dude. They have like thousands of ships to show up out of fucking nowhere, okay? Like, I mean thousands. And like half of them, I don't even know if they would even have a weapon on them. Okay. I'm at my parking lot here. My driveway, sorry. And sure enough, I was going to just go stand inside my car and someone comes right outside to walk their dog. So give me a second. I'm going to change the brightness one more time. All right, you pencil pushers, last attempt here. We're doing one last go at it here. We've upped the brightness just a bit so you can see me. And yeah, there's a woman right behind me walking, sitting there with her dog in her lawn. Great. So we'll be a little quiet for a minute. So like I was saying, the last battle scene was just absolutely atrocious, man. That they literally, like if you saw in the trailer, they've got like thousands of ships just coming out of space. Now, originally when they go to this planet, Exegol, why they need the map is they need to go like fly through a nebula. And it would look really tough for like Kylo's ship, which was just a start, like a little TIE fighter. And again, I don't even know where the First Order fleet is at this point, by the way. I don't remember why they're gone. All I remember is in that, I'm jumping back to the last movie for a quick second, the girl with the purple hair used light speed on the ship basically and flew through the fleet and took out the majority of it. So maybe that's where most of it went. I don't remember, but yeah, like they called it the Holdo maneuver, and it was a 1 in a million chance. And she completely criticized Poe because he was risking their lives on such a small percentage, which is really annoying because it was a 1 in a million chance. Why the fuck did she do it? Okay. Anyway, that being said, we're going back to the other movie, last movie. So it's the classic scene again where like Palpatine faces off basically against Rey. Kylo makes a bunch of jokes against the Knights of Ren, and deliberately, like, I remember, it's pretty funny, he like deliberately turns around and like bends over like with his lightsaber, so like that they're gonna hit the lightsaber, but they didn't have to do that. They could have just like shot him or stabbed him. But yeah, we won't nitpick too much here because like I said, I'm just standing in my driveway. I should probably get inside. But anyway. So when Rey fights Palpatine at the end, he basically just spams lightning again, and as always, and it just doesn't work out. She blocks it with 2 lightsabers. She hears a bunch of the names of Force users and defeats him. But when he shoots up the lightning up to the sky, he actually like takes out a majority of the ships up there. They just instantly blow up. But all the main characters, their ships just get disabled. And it really annoyed me again, because it was like, man, like, what kind of plot armor is that? Like, I could go into the third movie a lot, but my DJI Pocket looks like it's basically, like, going to last for about 2 minutes. What the fuck? I think the battery's, like, dead. It literally looks like it's dead. So anyway, that kind of being said, though, you get the idea. Last movie sucked. Palpatine didn't make any sense to come back. Like, Kylo Ren died. I think that he kissed Rey, and he died, and then he instantly becomes the Force Ghost, which makes no sense. They had, like, I'm trying to sum up everything now. They had, like, the Force communication, which apparently was, I think it was all Snoke, actually, in the second movie doing that, but I think they do it in the third movie as well, that they have the Force communication, and they can bring stuff from location. Like, he rips off beads on Rey's neck and brings them into his area. Couldn't he just, like, wouldn't he have just seen something? Like, he saw the dagger in her hand. Wouldn't he have just seen that and known where she is? Or, like, take her lightsaber or something? Or bring her through? The Force calling doesn't make any sense. Also, Rey can heal people, too, with the Force. But we see that in The Mandalorian a bit. But Baby Yoda gets very exhausted when he does that. Rey just walks it off. I don't really know what else to say, by the way. Basically, the new trilogy wasn't that great. I think I kind of summed it up there pretty well. The last movie, unfortunately, we kind of had to speed run that. But you get the point. Just terrible movie. Probably would never watch it again. They couldn't even like fly the Star Destroyers up. They couldn't figure out where up was apparently because like their like beacon was gone or something. Like nobody could look out the window and be like, yeah, there it is. Like really? And they couldn't put the shields on the Star Destroyers, so they were just getting taken out in 2 seconds. And literally in battles, ridiculous. I remember they got like animals and they're running across a Star Destroyer. Like nobody could just tilt it. Like literally go like that and just tilt, and they'd all fall off and die. Like doesn't make any fucking sense. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to say about the last movie, but you get the idea. There really isn't anything to say. I probably missed a ton of details, but that's the point of these rants, is they're not always going to be like super in my mind. Okay, they're not going to always be like right in my mind as I'm thinking. Like you know, I'm just talking about what I can remember. Hey, Stell. Anyway, we'll call it there, boys. Thanks for watching. Peace.